Well, hello, real estate agents across America and brokers across America. This is Dr. Hank, and welcome to Agent Wealth Network. We're the fastest growing podcast in America, literally putting on thousands of new agents every month. And the reason why is because we have such amazing people to help us grow our business and to grow our wealth. And today, we really have a special guest because normally I bring in an expert that is an expert in this one on how to convert leads or how to get leads or whatever the case may be. But today we have Daniel Beer. And Dan Beard he's one of America's top real estate teams, and that's only according to the Wall Street Journal and Inman. And he has actually a patented process called the 5-day Blitz home selling process, where last year alone he sold, just on that Blitz program, 222 homes, nearly $164 million in sales just last year. And so with that, Dan, hello to you, and thanks so much for being on our show.
This is fun, man. I'm looking forward to jumping in and hopefully giving as much value as we can.
Oh, well, that's great. I really appreciate it. We have people from all different walks, as far as brand new agents to experienced agents and brokers that watch this and get, a lot of value out of it. And so could you just start with us on kind of like how you started, because we know you ended up where you ended up so far is being one of the top real estate teams. But, how did you kind of start, and how did you get into this, and what did you learn on your journey to such success as you are?
So I started, unfortunately, just the same way that most people in our industry do. And it's by just stumbling into it because in my case, my dad was going to sell a house. And it's a really terrible reason to get licensed, but that's an issue with our industry really in general, which is what creates the challenges we have today, which is a low barrier to entry of our industry. And you get what's becoming a very highly commoditized business, or a very highly commoditized industry. We get all the commission pressures, and that's where it comes from, because most agents are stumbling in. There's no you're a 3-year law school to go to. Any of it, despite the fact that we could actually make more money than most lawyers will ever dream of making.
Absolutely.
So that's a major challenge, and in fact, something we're going to be tackling at the Be Different Conference, bedifferentconference.com. If you want to register for that, we're going to have people like Mauricio Mansky, the founder of the agency in Beverly Hills, one of the top 5 agents in the world, year in, year out, several years in a row now. Jason Abrams will be there with us. There's going to be Kurt Wanabo, a $100 million producer. Melissa Tucci, one of the top single agents in all of San Diego County, will be there speaking. It's going to be jam-packed. There's a few more speakers, big top-shelf speakers that will be announced, including Kyle Whissel, a $200 million producer. The whole focus is how can we become different? Because here's what happened. When I was first in the industry with such a poor reason to be in the industry, all of a sudden the market shifted. It changed. And this is taking you back to 2005 when I was licensed. I had one semi-easy year. Then in 2006, everything in San Diego County started to shift. And of course, then the bottom fell out. So we're there now, right? Like we are right now. Welcome to the top of the market. We have inventory ballooning in most of the top coastal markets. And I say that because I know that a lot of us in the central part of the country aren't feeling it yet. But the coast, especially the big cities along the coast, have traditionally led us into any shift, including coming out of them. And so we could tell you that New York City ballooning in inventory, Seattle ballooning in inventory, San Jose, where you couldn't find a home in San Jose, inventory growing. San Diego County, we've gone from 4,200 homes to over 7,000 in a short period of time. So we're going into a shifting market. The way you're going to survive it is by being different and differentiating yourself from the rest of the crowd. That's what will protect your business. And how you do that, well, that has a lot to do with the recent move I made even. Everything I do in my business is focused right now around who can I be surrounded by to learn as much as I possibly can at the highest level with people that have already reached what I'm hoping to achieve, so that I can prevent mistakes and get to success a little bit faster. You can't circumvent hard work, but we could get there faster. That's the entire focus. And really, without going into an hour soliloquy, the way that, to answer your question directly, your original question, how did we create one of the top producing teams in the nation?
Yeah.
It's by being consistently in relationship with the top agents in the country and learning from them, and then most importantly, implementing. The implementation part you have to give to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we've created the recent alignment that we have with some of the top agents in the country.
I see. And what kind of move was that? You mentioned you had a major move, and so what did you do? What is that major move?
Well, we look for what platform encourages the most open sharing, where agents are aligned financially to actually give to one another on a level that that is just not found anywhere else. Especially knowing that if I were to track my growth, I'd say one of the huge catalysts was a mastermind I was invited to in Louisville, Kentucky. So I was invited. I had just paid a fortune for a website that I probably had no business owning. It was very expensive. It's $10,000, and at the time that represented most of my money.
Wow.
And so there was people that were on that platform that assumed I was a big producer. I wasn't, but they assumed it and invited me to this mastermind. And all of a sudden, I'm in the room with people doing hundreds of transactions a year. Wow. And I didn't even know anything like that was possible. I mean, I didn't know 50 was possible. And so coming out of those 2 days in that little conference room at a hotel in Louisville, Kentucky, I could tell you that my entire mindset, my outlook, the way my brain worked, my business plan, everything shifted because of what I'd been exposed to. So to answer your question, what have I recently moved toward? Well, we've created an incredible mastermind and learning platform, a learning group on the eXp Realty platform, where on a weekly basis, we're learning from $1 million to $5 million producing agent that's pouring in to the group with extremely high level training. And I'm taking nuggets from each of these weekly trainings and implementing them.
That's
for new agents. I mean, I can't imagine if I'd been a part of a group like that on a consistent basis when I was a newer agent versus only had been at that one Louisville, Kentucky mastermind. But this wasn't around then.
Yeah, that's great. And EXP, I'm also a part of EXP. And yes, they do have training. In fact, what I'm going to do is share with all of our agents right now, brokers, that you can actually go to that training and you don't have to be part of EXP, but you can go to that at invite, INVITE, .exprealty.com. And that's one way to get kind of exposed to all of this. And like you say, you went to one mastermind, and that's one thing that I love about that platform as well is that, one broker with a franchise anywhere in the United States just can't, have top speakers and top agents and top brokers from around the U.S. to learn from. And so that's why this platform, it brings people like yourself onto it, where you actually will be doing the teaching and inputting, into the training when you're in the training. And so out of that, let's move into your 5-day blitz, your home selling process. And I know you do a lot of guarantees, and it's like a minute-to-minute listing agreement. You guarantee to get the asking price, and you're paying the difference. And so, and now that we kind of understand where you started, and basically you started like all of us did, kind of not knowing what was going on, and then we kind of fell into the successful ones. Fell into some amazing things like this podcast is because of you and your knowledge. And so can you help us with a little about, some real hands-on, like how can our agents walk away today and say, hey, this is really good and I could apply this right now and help build my business? Do you have any, does the 5-day blitz, could that help us with that?
Well, so the 5-day blitz itself, okay, what really would help you is to understand what is the philosophy behind it. How did I create it? Because here's the deal. As soon as you want to have a 5-day blitz, now you're like me. And that's not the key. The key is for you to be different. That's why we're doing the Be Different conference. Okay? So what I want to share with you is the framework for differentiation, so that you can run all of your systems and processes through this framework and then finally have your unique process for everything that you're doing. So my 5-day blitz is trademarked, right? So how can you have your unique process. I love teaching this to agents. Teaching
Yeah.
agents is really one of my passions. It's
Awesome.
why I created agentacademy.com as an example.
Uh-huh.
It's a privilege to be able to really share with others, and especially in today's age where we have these big megaphones called Facebook and podcasts and so on,
Yeah.
to help people get there a lot faster than I ever did, because I had to
Yeah.
stumble for a lot of years until I ran into this fortunate scenario of being invited to this mastermind.
Right.
So here's what you really want to spend time thinking about.
Sure.
Take your buyer presentation as an example. Anything you want. Spend time thinking about, well, how do most buyers experience a purchase? How do they do it? So the first step is they. And you brainstorm it. You literally on a whiteboard like this, you brainstorm, how do they do it? Will they send MLS, automated MLS searches and listings, and they typically just find something, an open house, and they stumble into open houses, whether it's the right home or not, and they just search Zillow and see what house is there, and then, what do they do? Here's something they do. They find their own homes and then send it to their agent, and then the agent just simply opens the door. Okay, so you want to brainstorm, what are they experiencing? Because as you can tell with each of these steps, there's a pain point associated. So it's what do they do and what pain points are attached to it? Well, when they're looking for homes on Zillow, they're seeing the same homes everyone else is seeing. There's nothing unique. When they're stumbling into open houses, they're basically just looking at something random. It may or may not really work for them. It could be a waste of time. So you want to brainstorm, what did they do and what are the pain points?
Yeah.
Then the real challenge is now solve those pain points by creating your own unique methodology. And then give it a name.
Yeah.
Right? So now you see where the 5-day blitz comes from. It's an effort of observing what the industry does, what in the case of 5-day blitz, what sellers typically experience, what they go through, the pain points, and then the methodology through which you solve it through, and the steps, step A, B, C, D, to solve the pain points created by the industry.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
When you go through this exercise, literally whiteboard it, what you'll be all of a sudden creating is either a presentation, you'll be creating a script, okay? Anything. What do expired listings typically, or expired home sellers typically go through? Well, here's what they experience. Here are the phone calls they receive. Here's what they sound like. Here's how annoyed they get. And brainstorm the whole thing, and then create a unique process, a unique method with step A, B, C, D to solve that pain caused by the industry. Name it, and now what you have is differentiation. Differentiation is the moat that we're going to need to create, each of us, around our business so that it's protected from the shift that we will experience. It is on its way. And this doesn't make me some kind of great prognosticator. I mean, the craziest thing to say would be that it's not on the way, because it's always been on the way, right? It's always been on the way. So that's really it. And then here's a key too, when you're presenting, when you're calling an expired, whatever it might be, how many of us start off with, well, hey, here's who I am, and here's how great I am, and here's my awards, or here's my company's awards, and here's how many homes we've sold. How many of us start with that? They don't care. What is interesting though is here's what they all go through, and here are the pain points associated. So here's what we've created. And that's the reason why we're number one in our marketplace. That's the reason why we're recognized by the Wall Street Journal. That's the reason why we're in the top 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever. Whatever applies to you.
Right.
Okay, that's the reason why, if you need to lean on branch numbers, or you go from there. You get the point.
Yeah.
The brag last.
Right. This is just fantastic. And so I want to stop right here because I've been taking a lot of notes, and hopefully everybody else is taking some notes too. And so I'm a mental scientist, and so I'm a head doctor, and I help people in order to focus on what they want. And that's where the Dr. Hank comes in, because whatever we focus on grows. And so I love your approach on, first of all, just focusing in on what is the customer's experience. And where are the challenges? You call them pain points. I'll call them challenges. A little bit nicer, softer word. And what and what are the challenges that they have? And then to be able to, so I'd like all of us right now to schedule in your calendar. So if you have a calendar, I want you to schedule in an hour to do that sometime this week. Because you, as you had said, Dan, if you don't implement this stuff, it's for no good. So right now, everybody put that in your calendar for 1 hour to brainstorm on what my, customer experiences and what challenges do they have. And then or go ahead, yeah.
I just love what you're saying, because and I've never seen a podcaster say what you just said. That's why this podcast is kicking butt. That's why it's growing. Yeah. We must actually get it into the calendar. Otherwise, all you're doing right now is stimulating yourself with real estate porn, right? Like, that's all. I mean, there's just nothing else to it, and then you don't implement it.
Right.
And so we can give you information. Our group, our mastermind and learning platform, which you're welcome to reach out and see if you're a fit for, can give you all of our experience and information. You must give yourself implementation.
Yeah. First of all, how do I get to that one?
By the way, I said implementation, just to not confuse it with my prior analogy.
Very good. How would we get to that? And I do have another point on that, but how do we get to, you said that those that want to join your platform there, how would they do that?
Well, if you feel like you might be a fit for it or want to explore it, you want to also, if you want to workshop the greatest challenge in your business and work through it together, if there's a hurdle that if removed, your business would grow, you want to workshop that with me and explore a fit in our mastermind and learning platform, just go to ffm30.com. That's FFM, like fast forward movement, FFM.
Okay,
fast,
got it.
30, the digits 30.com.
Okay, fantastic. And so there you go, folks. That this is some real stuff here on implementation. And again, for us too, we talked about implementing. How are we going to do this? So you're going to schedule that hour. Now, the other thing that I would ask you to do is see, we each have the power to ask and then be able to receive. And so I want all of us that after you do that and you identify what the challenges are, that what I want you to do is write out the questions on, what is the solution to this? What is the answer? And so invest just a half hour on and put that, so it would be 1 hour doing the exercise that Dan mentioned, and then a half hour on just asking on what are those questions, ask and you shall receive. And so ask for answers and solutions, and you will be amazed at what God's going to give you, if you will. Infinite intelligence will give you some of the answers. And so what are your thoughts on that, Dan? Do you think that's a good two-step process for them to implement what you're sharing here?
Yes, but I love the focus on going from where you're at right now to actually putting in these action steps. That two-step implementation plan is awesome. And that's exactly what it takes. And think about anything that's happening in your life, any aspect of your life, your relationships, anything. It doesn't have to be business. And when you've given it that degree of focus, like what you just described, Dr. Hank, that is where results are showing up in your life, both positive and negative.
Right. Right, absolutely. And that we literally create our own experience, and we do it through what we're thinking about. And so just, to align kind of with that, if you're thinking about a deal that went south and you're getting mad about it and you're putting it on Facebook and everything, what you're doing is you're creating and attracting more bad deals to come to you. So be quiet and just think about, hey, what did this birth? What ideas did this help me birth to what I do want? Because that's what I don't want. So what do I want? Wow, I want good clients, easy clients that respect me, do as I say. And you can just go on and on and on. And then you'll start having and literally being able to live the dreams, that you have. So that's fantastic. So you shared with us those steps there on how to be able to really create this, your own trademark, if you will, patented process to do it. Other thoughts that would be helpful for us on this, Dan?
I mean, I want you to always work everything through that framework, and beyond that, it's a consistent effort of really asking yourself, how would a real professional service company behave? And that's a question that was one of the most key questions that I asked myself as I was growing in this business into a career, or really I should restate what I just said, growing through my job of selling homes into developing a career and then finally a business. And the real, I think something that really helps differentiate, and you'll find out that I'm obsessed with differentiation, because that's what protects us. That's what keeps us in front of the crowd. Is I asked myself at every turn as I came into the business, I observed and I said, well, what are people doing? And I noticed that people were sending cookie recipes, or I noticed that people had websites with cowboy hats, their dog, and a thumbs up, and a big shiny smile with a glowing tooth. I noticed all of these odd behaviors that I don't believe any lawyer or CPA, as an example, of professional services companies and professionals would ever engage in. And so I started filtering everything I was doing through the lens of, would an attorney do this? Would a CPA do this? Or would only a realtor do this? And if the answer was that a CPA would not do it, an attorney would not do it, but only a realtor would do it, then I did not do it.
Yes.
And so let's understand what's in front of us. Okay, and really that is the biggest shift that we need to make, is to align our mental, our expectations, our mentality with the opportunity that's in front of us. Right here in real estate, we have NFL level money available to us.
Right.
Okay, but what are we doing to actually get there? NFL football players practice thousands of hours a year. To what? To play for 16 hours. They focus their lives on it. Their entire routine, what they eat, what they do, everything is focused around it. They get paid very handsomely in return. Real estate agents have the opportunity to go make the same type of money. And yet, when's the last time you role-played your presentation? When's the last time you role-played your calls? When's the last time that you got in front of the mirror and thought through what you're doing? They literally X's and O's on the chalkboard. Well, when's the last time that you mapped out your presentation, the language? Should I use this word or this word? Thought through the psychology of the impact of every single word, movement, gesture, facial expression, body posture that you engage with in your presentation.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to actually unlock what's in front of us and available in this industry. That's why this industry is also very much, just like society, the one percenters. That's what's here in real estate, and it's because it's not any of us are born with a magic real estate wand or magic real estate power, any of it. But some of us have practiced and engaged at a more professional level than others.
Yeah.
And you get to choose. That's the coolest thing of all. You literally get to choose. And when I'm coaching agents sometimes, or in our mastermind group, and I'm helping them grow, I remind agents that it almost sometimes seems like a lot of you're waiting to be anointed as having the right to do awesome things, or the right to be different, the right to have calls to action that are engaging or that stimulate the mind, that perk the interest of sellers, that are a little bit risky. It seems like you're waiting to be anointed with the right, and that day's never coming unless you anoint yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. You can choose that right now and today.
Amen and hallelujah. That is it. I mean, that is the energy. And see, we noticed there you were just starting to drill your drum up your energy there. You're getting into this, and you're, this professional attitude. And yes, we have the freedom where, that's one of the reasons why we're here is for more freedom. And if you're in corporate America, you don't have that freedom. And here you have the freedom to be who you want. And you're right, the only person that can anoint you is yourself, and for you to choose that. And so that is just right on that professional approach. Any other thoughts on that before we move on?
The most powerful thing any human being can do is make a decision.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You have to make a decision and then set yourself on a path to get where your goals are pointing to.
Yes.
You're not going to get there alone. Most
Right.
likely, you're going to be needing to get into the right circle of influence and exposure to ideas and thoughts from those that have already gotten there. You can try to get there alone. I'm not saying you can't, but you can't get there as fast. Now, there's no way to just simply skip over and be there. You're going to have to layer in the systems, you're going to have to build one step at a time, but you can certainly get there faster by being engaged with the right type of people.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You're going to have to first make a decision.
Yeah, and you bet, and it's all up to us, and that's why we're the creators of our own experiences, because we make the decision. Nobody else can think for you, nobody else can feel for you. And as you mentioned earlier, a real quick way to get into that higher level is by joining EXP. Then if you would join EXP, that EXP actually has in half the states, they're in all the states, 49 of the states, and half the states, they have the number 1 or number 2 agent or broker in that state. And so a real quick way to get up to speed to be with people like you, Dan, is to be able to, you can as easily as join EXP, and we already shared on where you can get, that training without even having to join it. That and tell me on how to build your team, because you're relaxed, and I do want to share with everybody that your whiteboard had writing all over it, and before we started, and so you actually were there erasing it. So you're a man of action, and you in fact walk the talk, because you had that whiteboard, filled with all kinds of things. But I know you're not doing this on your own, because no one can, and you look very relaxed, and doesn't look like you're, got a bunch of phones and everything. And so you have effectively built a team. So can you help us maybe a little from, let's start out in the beginning on how you would build a team, and then how you do that in order to build it? Because am I correct on you selling 222 homes last year and $164 million worth of business? You didn't do it by yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 100% right. And proudly so. It's an interesting,
Right.
it's a really interesting industry where, because of that lack of barrier to entry, people jump in and everything's on you. And there's almost this pride of, I do it all, and somehow that's better.
Right.
And so, no, for me, it's better if I'm on vacation that my client's listings not be on vacation. For me, it's better that if I'm sick, that my client's listings not be sick. That if I'm doing this podcast and my phone's ringing, that it be answered.
Yes.
That to me is better for everybody. We make more money, we're more relaxed, like you said, and our clients are served. So what's the question? How do we go from A to Z on this on the team building experience?
Yeah.
Well, here's the negative side of all of these podcasts, Facebook, all of these conferences and workshops, seminars, panels with all these agents that are all on stage talking about their 100 million and here's how many homes we sell. Is that to you watching it, it looks like, oh wow, he's just went from zero to that, and that's not the case. There was a lot that had to go into getting there, and I'm seeing, here's an observation I'm making in masterminding with agents from around the country. I'm seeing that a lot of agents are wanting to go from A to G, that are forgetting about B, C, D, E, F. Like they're forgetting there are steps. So really, our businesses are just like our private selves, okay? If you want to stop smoking,
Yeah.
any habit, if you want to create any habit, depending on what book you read, it takes anywhere from 60 to 90 days to create that habit. And it takes a lot of focus, energy on that to make it a habit. Habit, by definition, meaning you no longer have to necessarily think of it. It moves from your conscious mind to your subconscious. It's on autopilot. It's no longer difficult. And therefore, your conscious mind is freed to focus on something else. So say 60 to 90 days after not smoking, you no longer have to wake up and fight that cigarette. You now just simply don't smoke. Right. So now you can focus on, okay, I'm going to work out, right? Or I'm going to eat healthy, or the next thing.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, 90 days later, after that, you're someone who doesn't smoke and works out.
Right.
Right? It's because you freed your conscious mind to focus on that new thing. So our businesses are just like that. Our businesses on a quarterly basis must have clear focus on what are the most important things. I'm talking like 1, 2, or 3 things that have to happen this quarter that we're going to focus all our energy on. And by doing so, we'll turn it into a habit of our business. For example, we had a 7:30 a.m. role play that occurred this morning. We didn't have to, set our alarms and think about it too much. It just simply happened because it turned into a habit of our business. Yeah. So we are prospected 8 a.m. We prospect every day, 8 to 9 a.m. We do not have to suffer through forcing ourselves to do it because it's simply just something that is now a habit of our business. Wow. So the way you grow your business the only real difference between a small business and a big business is that a small business hasn't yet layered in habits into their business that that essentially just become systems upon which your business works. It becomes your business platform. And it's a series of layering on these habits quarter over quarter over quarter that at first feels like very slow progress. And that's the death knell of the industry, is that slow progress most of you can't tolerate, right? Most of the industry can't tolerate that. But you who can, well, you layer it in and it's slow progress. But all of a sudden you look up 3, 4, 6, 8, 12 quarters later.
Right.
And holy smokes, look at all this stuff we do. We have a real business and it's humming. Yeah. And when you have a real business platform, you can all of a sudden now layer agents onto that platform who have a real team that gives them value, that gives them longevity, that gives you retention, versus what most people experience, and I experienced. How I know this, I tried building it the other way at first, where it's just, boy, I've got a bunch of leads, let me get some agents. Well, when you just simply bring agents and the value proposition is leads, or the value proposition is splits, well, figuring out how to get leads can eventually be done by anybody, and figuring out where to find a lower split can eventually be found by anybody if that was the value prop, or excuse me, a higher split, right? So building a big business is layering one system on the next with clear focus, and also not just random systems, but with clarity on that this will push you toward your 1-year goal, and that 1-year goal is in line and correlates with your 5-year goal.
So let me take this now and let's have everybody, this is another action step where we're going to put in fact, you can write it down right now, is what are you going to do in the next, let's call it 2-3 months, the quarter, whatever. But what are you going to do in your business that's going to help build your business? And then be thinking in the back of your mind, as I build this business, I'll actually be building it for my team as well, which maybe isn't here right now, but I'll be able to build this as a team, as Dan is sharing with you. And so I'd like everybody to take a second, write that down. And again, I've been taking all kinds of notes there. I got 2 pages of notes already with Dan's brilliant ideas and strategies in order to get there. And while they're doing that, Dan, could you just share with us a couple of thoughts on what maybe that might be, a quarterly goal? It could be from inexperience to experience, but what are some of your top ones that you were most helpful to you?
So when we're creating these, we're asking ourselves a question. We do a lot of things during the quarter, a lot of things, including buying homes, selling homes, right? All the stuff that agents do. But we ensure that we are doing something. We call them rocks. That we have rocks that permanently move the business forward. It can be something as simple as we're going to build an email that when we put someone into our CRM as a new addition to the CRM, there's a welcome email that goes out. And this is what that welcome email says. We figure out the software, we automate it, we build it in, we focus on making sure that's working correctly. Good. What you now have is something that's permanently working in your business, permanently moving your business forward. Now we build something else that complements that, and you see how they start stacking, and then eventually you have an engine that is makes it hard for others to compete with who haven't taken that time.
And it's repeatable, that you can repeat it.
Yes.
And
I'm going to challenge you with something though.
Sure.
Because you gave everyone you gave everyone an action step a moment ago to go and figure out what they're going to do in their business.
Yeah.
For the next 2-3 months, the next quarter.
Right.
I'm going to say, do that, but let's not kid ourselves here. Let's throw the word team out the window first of all.
Okay.
Let's replace it with business.
Uh-huh.
So you need to decide that when you're thinking through this, are you going to think through, okay, what am I going to do for my job this quarter? Or are you going to build a business? Business requires other people. Business requires other people unless you have figured out how to sell houses from a beach with no support back at home. If you figured that, and without being on your phone the entire time at the beach, okay?
Right.
If you figured out how to sell homes with no technology available from a beach, then cool, on your own with no help at home. For the rest of us, I just want us to be clear and have clarity. And by the way, there's no right or wrong. We all get to choose the path we want, and I respect it massively. Some people make a wonderful living with a really great high-paying job.
Yeah.
But we have to be clear on on those of us that are building high-paying jobs and those of us that are building businesses.
Yes. Got it. And so that's a great perspective, and it helps us what I call focus bracket into, exactly what it's. How am I going to build my business? And business now entails that I have other people on my team, and I know you are one expert on hiring good talent. And so, can you give us some perspectives on how to hire good talent? And I do want to say one other thing that I kind of smile about, that I heard the other day about that. If you don't get an assistant, you become the assistant, right? And so you need to start looking at, hey, what are my high payoff activities? And so it's an assistant part of your team, it's other agents as part of your team, it's technology resources, whatever. But how would you could you share with us some things on how to hire good talent?
Yes. Well, so sources of talent. Many of our best people, not all of them, but a lot of our very best people. And as I take a moment to pause and think through this, in fact, our entire executive team, my executive assistant, who's top shelf, everyone in that group was introduced through a relationship that we had either with a vendor or with a relationship from someone within the team. They didn't come from job boards. And our operations team, our listing manager, transaction manager, our operations assistant, there we do have very talented people that we have gotten from job boards, typically using Indeed as the most successful that we've been able to use. We do leverage a system called WiseHire. It's really putting everything on Indeed and Monster and, just kind of disseminating across different job boards, but it consolidates the information very well and in a very manageable way, automatically deploys disc assessment. It helps the system.
Yeah.
And we've been very, very intentional about also employing technology assistants, right? Which technology today can be an assistant.
Yeah.
And so it is something we take very seriously. Here's the biggest issue I find is that most of us in real estate try building, an empire, and that's become a buzzword, and and we tried doing that with like a minimum wage worker.
Yeah.
And that does not I mean, maybe a couple of us out there have gotten lucky. That typically isn't the path.
Yeah.
So being able to recognize that sometimes the right person is actually more valuable to your business than adding to your farm, or than a video marketing strategy or any other marketing strategy. People are some of the best way for your business to grow. And I read a book by Dan Kennedy called No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs. We all understand conceptually the idea that we have to align our work, our activities with the dollar per hour that we expect. We understand that conceptually, yet so few of us do it. So few really live it. And something about that book, No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs by Dan Kennedy, and it's a heck of a fun read, by the way. You'd be surprised what a good read that is for a time management book. Something with that book, something about it may just finally hit me, and I permanently shifted to where there's nothing I do where I don't think, does this match my hourly rate? Does this match where everything? Like, should I wait for my friend to pick me up, or should I get a $40 Uber right now? Like, anything I'm doing, I'm calculating what is my hourly rate, what's the opportunity cost, what can I do at that time, constantly. And if you take that concept seriously, it'll also start to move you in the right path. But it is about finding great people. There's no question about it. That's ultimately your task, right? Like, in my business, I'm really just on the internal people side of the business.
Right. Well, and we can attract whatever we are thinking about. And so it's thinking about, hey, being clear on what you want. Is it a technology person? Is it a buying person? Whatever. And then you just start attracting that, and get introduced to them or whatever. Yes.
Let's give people some tangible points here, right? So, executive assistant number one, your first hire, your operations, whatever you call the person. I don't really even know what all these titles mean, right? So, person number one, well, that person takes on your listing management, your transaction management, your database, and your marketing systems. Okay, what that means is you are the head of marketing, but once you've conceptualized that here's the three things we do month in, month out for our marketing program, that person makes sure they happen without you having to think about it. So now you have hours back. Okay, so your listing management, transaction management, your database, and your marketing. Then person number two, so that frees up hours, just to pause it. That frees up hours in your life, which should bring in more business, more revenue, which gives us the opportunity to hire person number two. Person number two should take the database, the marketing, and the customer experience. Okay, the database, the marketing, and the customer experience. That's that person's world. By the way, also, person number two ideally is hired by person number one. Or if person number one isn't quite that person, then you hire person number two to be person number one's boss.
Okay. Wow.
So you are only going to interface with the head of your operations team. That person is now responsible for person number two.
Got it.
Okay. So when you've done that, you have these, now you're starting to build a real business platform. And you start to extrapolate from there out. Now you can bring on, now you can start focusing on the sales side. And a lot of people will then go to buyer's agents, though I would urge you to look at how much more margin there is in going to the showing agent first. When we go to the showing agent first, we are able to keep a lot more margin. And as long as you're not in the car with buyers, a buyer is almost as time effective as a seller, so long as you're not in the car. Now, it doesn't create more leads or sign calls, so the listing still has a ton of benefit. But from a time perspective, once you're not in the car, you're essentially listing buyers and then negotiating their contract, just like we do for sellers.
Yeah.
So this is how we now have hours back in our life. And the entire journey is actually, how can I continue to get hours back? How can I
Yeah.
get hours back? How can I get hours back? Right now I've been doing a ton of events. Well, I'm about to hire an event coordinator so I can get hours back.
Yeah.
Okay. That is it. That's how your dollars per hour climbs on a consistent basis.
Wow. Dan, you have showed us how to build a business, and from really the beginning on how to take it, the different positions on it, on how really to be professional and to raise it to the next level. Just in our last couple minutes together, do you have any more wisdom to share with us? Any closing comments that you'd like to share with us? Because this has just been really remarkable and eye-opening for all of us to understand on how to build a business. Your thoughts?
Well, this has been a ton of fun, and we've spent most of the conversation at a 10,000-foot level, but I think we've touched on a lot of very important foundational blocks to get people moving in the right direction. I'd love to continue learning together, and so I have a webinar where we're going to go very granular on farming. So if you are interested in farming, I'd encourage you to jump on. It's a free webinar, by the way, and I literally will go through how did we scale from 2,500 homes to now 32,000 homes that we're farming. So this is one of those things where people hear 32,000 and get freaked out, but it started at 2,500. Yours could start at 500. You could start at a different number. But I will literally go through how to scale it, what to send, what those pieces should look like, how often to send them, the calls to action, and the marketing principles behind what I call direct response farming. Really what we're going to do is run a marketing course that you could apply to your farming or apply to other aspects of your business, whether it be your social media posts or anything different. So if you want to jump on there with us and continue learning together, you just go to fastforwardfarming.com. Fastforwardfarming.com.
Okay, that's fantastic. And we will do that. And again, like I said, I got lots of notes here, Dan. You have just been magnificent. We now know why you're one of the top real estate teams in America, and with heart, and that you're just out there wanting to serve and to help real estate agents to get to the next level. So we thank you so much for that, and everything that today with the knowledge and how to get a hold of you. And what's another good way to get a hold of you if they want to individually get a hold of you?
Look me up. My last name is Beer, just like the drink, easy to remember, Beer Home Team. So you could send an email at dan@beerhometeam. But really, I want to give, okay? This is about giving. I would really just encourage you to jump on fastforwardfarming.com. Join us for that webinar. We'll get granular on this, and that for results. So I'll look forward to doing that, and it'll be fun to see people there.
Okay, well, that's super. And so, Dan Beard, thank you so much. We appreciate it. That I also am having a webinar, hankwebinar.com. And so, come. Basically, what both Dan and I do is we help you to increase your business as well as increase your wealth. And with that, this is Dr. Hank from Agent Wealth Network, thanking all of you and wishing you all the best, and know that you make it the way you want it. All your dreams come true now. Bye-bye.